This is Lipedema Podcast, Living with Lipedema. Here's your host, Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah, the host of Lipedema. And in this episode, we have a special guest. I cannot wait for you to meet her, Yana Etemadi, an expert functional nutritionist. She is a wealth of knowledge, and she too has lipedema. Welcome, Yana.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for hosting me. And thank you, everyone who came to listen to that program.
Yes, I'm so excited about today's topic. Can you give us a little bit of background on your expertise and training and maybe why you became a nutritionist?
So my journey started about 17 years ago when my oldest child got diagnosed with autism. And back then, 17 years, it was a sentence, lifestyle sentence, and there was not much information how doctors can support and what support this child can receive. And I start digging what else I can do besides just seeing and watching my child grow. And that's where I found the organization that was teaching about gut-brain connection, that what child eat is reflecting how the child behave. And it was mind-blowing to me. I was like, what? Mac and cheese from the microwave is not a good food? How that's possible? For me, with economy degree, things were just how the food can be connected. That's just impossible. So it was a whole new world that I decided to go further. And I started experimenting with my children. I had already 2 at this time and changing their diet. And then I started consulting with other kids who were newly diagnosed. And it was very interesting to me to see that, yeah, it's really when the kids were changing their diet, their behavior was changing and some autistic behavior was reduced. And it was very interesting for me. It was the whole new world and very interesting world. And then interestingly, I found out that it's working for adults as well, because the parents were changing the diet and they were saying, oh, we are feeling bad. I'm like, whoa, that's also work for adults. Again, it was not connection I was making. And I just got so involved with this world. I went and I got in 2017, I got the my nutritional consultant certification, and I started working in the Center of Functional Medicine and with kids with autism, ADHD, PANDAS, other diseases. But I also started working with adults a lot of with autoimmune diseases, GI, and different other conditions. Along all of that happening, I was struggling with weight. I was trying to lose weight. I was doing it for the rest of from the childhood, not from childhood, but something from teenage ages. I was trying to lose weight. And of course, having 3 kids and having very stressful life and the kid with autism, I had a lot of stress, not very healthy lifestyle, and trying to change it, but not knowing enough. And I was gaining weight over the period of time. And of course, with each pregnancy, I was gaining more and more weight. So I start getting involved more in the weight loss, nutritional weight loss, and how to do this. And I became a pretty good expert on the weight loss and leading a lot of weight loss groups and weight loss programs and help hundreds of people to lose weight, everyone except me. Nothing was working on me. I was doing 100 times more what other people were doing, and people were shedding pounds under my supervision. I were not. And I'm like, okay, what's wrong with me?
Right.
Why all of this, my knowledge working on everyone, but not working on me? What's happening? So I started digging into that, and I just could not answer. I was going doctor to doctor, none of the even functional doctors, they were saying you have wrong hormones or you had some problem with thyroid. I mean, they were putting all these diagnoses that was wrong. And I decided to go and get the degree myself and just find out what's wrong with me by getting masters in nutrition and functional medicine. I'm like, okay, if someone will help me, it will be me with education, with more knowledge of the human body. And I went to University of Western State in 2019 and I started digging in. And on my second year, when we were learning lymphatics, actually in my university, I got on the word lipedema. And I'm like, okay, what is that? I never heard of that. And when I opened the pictures and I was just sitting, and it was very long pause. I still remember this day because I was looking at the pictures and like, oh my God, there are people who has the same legs as me.
Yeah.
That was my legs. And this is people who have the same exact legs. And it's not fat legs, it's lipedema legs. What was the day my world changed and I start just digging in. And many years ago, I jumped into autism. That's how I jumped in lipedema. And I did my capstone project on lipedema at the end of my education. And I was lucky enough my capstone was chosen to be presented as the board presentation at the conference in Institute of Functional Medicine annual conference. And last year in summer, I brought it to Florida and I was presenting it in front of doctors at the Institute of Functional Medicine conference. So that was awesome. And I started just because to help me, of course, and help other women, I start looking more and more into this topic. That's where am I right now.
Wow. And we probably both found out about the same time. I found out in 2001. I mean,
Yeah.
sorry, 2021.
Yeah.
So we found out about the same time. And yeah, I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I can't believe other people's legs look like mine. Like, I'm not crazy. And everybody thinks you just sit and eat Twinkies all day. And it's not true.
Yeah. Yeah. And I had all the degrees and all the knowledge, everything there, and experience with a lot of people losing weight under my supervision. But yeah, it was just this miracle thing that you can help so many people, but nothing has worked for you. I was on the mission to dig in what's wrong.
And then did you have a little bit of relief once you knew what it was?
It was very mixed feeling because in the first you're like, yeah, I found that an exercise doesn't work. Yeah. I found
Right.
and it was this feeling that you have a name for it, but because you have a name for it, you actually know down the science that diet and exercise doesn't work. You just confirm officially that you know, and there is no exit out of it. And of course, there is surgeries and things like that. But if you want to do it without surgery, I don't have anything against surgeries. There is place for that, and it should be there. But there are people who choose to not to go this route. And if, for example, that would be my choice, I'm trapped. There is nothing much you can do. And of course, there is a lifestyle, and that's why I'm here. And that's what I'm doing, that there is a lifestyle and dietary changes that support that. And when I got diagnosed with lipedema, I was about end of stage 2, almost beginning of stage 3. And right now I'm end of stage 1, beginning of stage 2. So I made, because of my lifestyle changes, I did this whole step of the stage down because of that. Would I be lipedema free? No, I will not. But this is first not just made me worse, and because it's going from your generation to generation. I did look at my mother. I did look my grandmother doesn't have it, but my grandmother had lipedema and lymphedema. Talking to my relatives, I diagnosed her, even though she passed away when I was 10. She did have lipedema and lymphedema, and she was severe. She had severe lipedema, because I remember her and I look at the pictures. And I didn't progress to that. I actually regressed. And I know that diet and the lifestyle contributed to that.
Sure. And I'm the same. My mom's no longer with me, but I know for a fact that she had it, looking back at her legs. And knowing that diet and exercise doesn't necessarily get rid of it, it is a vital part. Even myself making some changes in diet and losing, I think it's like, I've lost like 52 pounds, I think.
Oh, whoa.
And that's big. And I've noticed a bigger, I think sometimes people get stuck on the surgery side of it, thinking that's the fix all. But when you're told, like myself, surgery is not possible at this time because your BMI is too high, you're like, okay, I have to do something. I'm not just going to sit around on the couch and do nothing and get bigger. Like, I want to be pain-free and do what I can do. So that was why we wanted to talk about this first as first step. So tell us, after being diagnosed with lipedema, anybody that's maybe new to this, talk to them about some lifestyle changes they can make in their diet.
Yeah. So as we all know, lipedema is inflammation. This is inflammatory disease. So the key, actually, like a lot of diseases that I work with other clients, not lipedema, but mostly, especially lipedema, there is a lot of inflammation there. Inflammation because of lymphatic, there is this fat that we have. It's given inflammation, it's given inflammatory cytokines. So we always in this chronic low state inflammation that is getting this putting us in this vicious cycle, because this inflammation reduce our immune system, and the immune system making us more susceptible for other diseases and bacteria. And also all of this may get us to the point where there is overdrive of immune system, to the point of mast cell activation that we will talk on another episode with you. But this is overdrive of immune system, when immune system is losing completely. But all of that increasing even inflammation. So controlling the inflammation, this is the main point of controlling your lipedema. So control of the control of the inflammation is not just diet. And that's why, even though I'm a nutritionist, when I start working with people, I start talking about other things. We start talking sleep, we start talking stress, we start talking environmental toxicity, where you're living, because eating is important, but we're living in the world, and what's in the world, what the makeup using, what is around you, what you're cleaning your things with, how stressful is your life. Is your house old? Do you have lead in the paint of your house? Do you have mold in your house? What are you drinking? Things like that. It's controlling the inflammation. That's why the biggest, especially after diagnosis, the best thing what you can do is this biggest change what you can make is that reducing inflammation by cleaning up your diet and your environment. This is important, and it doesn't matter you decided to go surgery route or surgery free. Especially if you decided to go surgery route, because reducing the inflammation will reduce your risk of infection, will reduce amount of pain, will increase the healing, so you're ready for the next surgery, and shorten the recovery process. That will help your surgery, especially if you have several surgeries, like 3 months between each surgery. That will definitely give you higher chances of better and faster and less pain recovery than you would have before that. So it doesn't matter what route you will choose, controlling the inflammation, the best and the absolutely necessary first step.
So what are some bad ingredients maybe in our foods that we can start looking at to get rid of?
So most of all, if we're talking just diet right now, that we can talk about the lifestyle separately, but if right now we will take just diet. So the most important thing is to remove from the diet everything what cause inflammation. So the first step, we are removing all the junk from the food. We're removing all the chemicals. So there are, for some people, especially starting, it could be a little bit overwhelming shopping. So that's what you can do. When you go to the store, there are 3 rules for shopping. First is there are more than 5 ingredients in the ingredients list. That's not food. Some people put it 10, pushing it to 10, but that's fine. It's your choice where to put it. But most of people putting 5. More than 5 ingredients, that's not food. If there are ingredients you cannot pronounce, or you cannot read, or you don't understand what is it, that's not food. You're not. So if it is apple, you know what's apple. If it is mono, trigger, and blah 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 side, you don't know what is it. You don't know how to pronounce this 20 letters together. You don't need it for sure. Nature doesn't create it. You really don't need it. And the third rule: if your grandmother doesn't recognize it as a food, that's not a food. So it's pretty much just putting your life and your diet into, just put everything in your diet and your lifestyle is God created food. So what were created by God and by nature, that is the food you have to eat. When it's man altered and things like unhealthy fat, trans fat, oil, the seed oil fat, anything what human created, this is not the food that should be in your diet. So this is like the first step in removing preservative, definitely removing all the food coloring, removing all this junk food, all these things that staying on the shelf for 3 months and nothing happened to them. This is not the food you're supposed to have in your body, and your body doesn't know what to do with some of this food and doesn't know how to process the food. So this is the first thing. We're removing all the junk, all the chemicals, everything. This is the first step, the first layer. The second, when you did this, again, don't do a lot of things together, because the best way is to do step by step. Then you will do permanent change. If you do at once a lot, it can get too overwhelmed and you
Right.
will give up. And it's normal, just when you just get in, because you got this diagnosis, you probably have kids, you probably have husband, you probably have work, you have so much to take care. So do one thing at a time. And if your first step will be changing soda to water, that's totally fine. That's better than not doing nothing, not doing anything. So that's why something better than nothing. Small steps are still steps. It's better than standing on one spot. So try, if you're not cold turkey person, there are people who are just trashing the whole their pantry and put in the new food. There are people like that. But if you're not the person like that and you need small steps, totally fine. Do the small steps. Take the pace that works for you to make this changing and make these changes permanently. And when you're doing this, you don't try to substitute bad stuff to better stuff. So if you're giving up soda, don't go diet soda or soda substitute. Or if you're giving up bread, don't go like gluten-free bread or bread. Just don't do this. Try to change the whole concept of how you eat and try to just get the whole real food into your life. So this is the first step, like I said, removing the junk food. The second step, what we're doing is removing all the inflammatory foods that might exist, and they might be healthy food. But again, our digestive system and our lining of GI tract can be so compromised at this point that even healthy food might be not good for you. So removing all the obvious inflammatory food, that will be dairy. And there is a lot of studies showing lipedema connected to estrogen, and that dairy can raise estrogen, and especially it's not good for estrogen dominated with women with estrogen dominance. So removing dairy, removing gluten, removing soy, so things like that, the food that obviously could be good, but it's too hard. I mean, gluten, there is sourdough, there is bad gluten, but there is good gluten by sourdough, but it still can trigger some something. So this is the second part, is removing some food that can trigger. And also just watch out your lifestyle. Some people can say, oh, when I'm eating eggs, I feel bad about after that. So what's the conclusion from that? So just start understanding your body and see the food that might trigger some of the side effect and you're not feeling well. So we remove, and of course, remove your sugar. And again, don't try to go healthier way. We're not eating sugar. We just eat a lot of erythritol or a lot of stevia, and we're doing healthy desserts. There is a place for desserts. it exists. But if you have to have desserts daily, and if you have to have a cake daily, or you have to have you have a big piece and it's not enough for you, you need another piece and another piece, and sugar is more controlling your diet, you really have to think about it and really not to find substitution for the sugar and trying to fight this sugar addiction, because sugar is addictive. This is a drug. This official, sugar is a white legal drug, period. And if you think about it, just read the book Case Against Sugar, the best food. It's a book where the sugar was taken to the trial, and this is like literally the best book you can read. So removing sugar and removing all the processed food, like we said, removing bad oils, huge inflammatory source, bad seed oils, hydrogenated oils, things like margarine, that cannot be in a human body because it's a man-made fat. Body had no idea what to do with that. It's not made in nature, and body have no idea how to process that stuff. And also all this highly processed inflammatory oxidized oil made out of seed, vegetable oil, sunflower oil, canola oil, sunflower oil, all these oils that is made through many chemical processes. Grapeseed oil, this in the same box. So it has to be out because it's a humongous source of inflammatory. So we're removing that, and gluten and soy, I told about this. So that will be the next step. And then there are more other steps, but I think that's that's enough of good information.
And just reiterating that it's not an overnight process. You don't have to do it all at once. And I try to tell people a 1% change. When you do 1%, change one thing at a time. Some people can go cold turkey. I kind of have to do that, go cold turkey. I do better at that. But I know some people, if they do that, then it's too overwhelming and then they quit doing it.
Yes, absolutely.
So I agree. Change one thing and do that for 3 or 4 weeks, and then try changing something else.
And it is, just knowing you. For me, also cold turkey is the best, because while I learn it, it has to be out of my life and just out of my house, and it's very easy. But it's not easy for some people, and there is some level of addiction, especially dairy gluten as well, not just sugar. Dairy gluten, it's called opioid effect. It's giving some satisfaction to us. There are people who are addicted to that. The gluten and dairy can do that, as well as sugar. So it's a process. And if you just weigh yourself off over time, this is fine too. And again, especially when you go in gluten and dairy free, don't look for substitute. Don't go from gluten bread to gluten-free bread, because especially gluten-free, dairy-free, it's so on the hype. The marketers, they're not sleeping. They're using this hype, and they creating some produce that is gluten-free, usually doesn't have a good taste. So they're adding preservative, they're adding a ton of sugar, they're adding some stuff to make this bread taste decent. And sometimes I'm joking, goodness, it's just way cleaner to eat the package from the bread than the bread itself. You will get less chemical, because that is just not food.
Right.
Go for the food, real food, not what created with a ton of ingredients. Go for the real. So instead of having a burger with gluten-free bun, have a burger with the lettuce wrap. So things like that. Just try to find more healthier and more whole food substitute, things like that.
Yes, I agree. And you have to be really careful. I'm not a medical expert, so I can't prove this, but I tell my husband all the time, I said, I really think they just put sugar in so many different names, and they put it in food because it just makes you crave more. So you're just going to buy more and eat more, which, is helping them, but not you.
Sugar is addictive. And also, you can Google all name of sugar. So all of you who are listening, just go on your Google and put all names of sugar. There are 20, 30, 50. This list is going. I remember it was about 20 names. I think there's way more right now. There's so many other names for sugar. If they don't write the word sugar, they will write some other name that you might even miss and not even think, what is it? So having this list, all names for sugar, is very useful. And those who go through my weight loss program, I always give this list because this is must have when you're cleaning the diet. Because again, marketers are not sleeping. There are a lot of people saying sugar is bad, so let's put something else instead of the pure sugar. And then they are marketing as a good thing, like agave syrup. There is a big marketing push how healthy it is. It is not. Agave syrup shouldn't be present in anyone's pantry. It shouldn't be in anyone's diet. This is not a healthy substitution for the sugar. So you have to really learn of this and educate yourself into that. And they putting sugar everywhere, because I remember when I came from Russia to United States, I gained so much weight, and then I started looking why I'm gaining weight, and I start seeing that I'm eating the food with everywhere sugar. Hot dogs has sugar, bread has sugar, like all the food that not dessert, still they adding sugar. And even looking at sometimes at the recipe, they just put sugar there, put sugar there, put sugar there. God, you cannot add sugar everywhere, but let's look like they do.
And even being really careful to some of those, I'm quoting for those of you who are listening, they say it's a healthy food. And they'll say it's non-GMO, or it has no added sugar, or it has no this. But if you go look up the ingredients, there's typically some form of sugar in there. But if you just read the front of the package, it looks super healthy.
Because the front of the package is not really regulated. So people can, I mean, there is some regulation there, but not crazy regulation there. So pretty much they can use nicely marketing right words to put to get you into their product and make it sound, they make it green. They will put some vegetables or fruits there, some happy lady there, and they will put the word natural. The word natural means nothing. Absolutely nothing, not regulated word that used right and left because it's attracting people. But this word means nothing in the science, in labeling. So never look at the front of the package, ever. Always pick it up, turn and read the ingredients. And don't forget, the higher on the list of the ingredients, the more of this ingredient is in the product. So if the first or second ingredient is sugar, you're eating a piece of sugar. This is first thing. Another thing, please look at the serving size. This is another thing how they tricking. They giving you a small box like that of something, and they put in the small letters, they will put 4 servings. And they will put like all their nutrition thing and 4 serving. Goodness, who will eat that 4 times? This is like 1/4 of a serving, not 4 servings. So this is how they trick. Another way is always look at the amount of servings, but definitely always read ingredients and read what is there. Read to the very last word. Always look for the oils. They love adding vegetables, oils, and all the seed oil everywhere, even in the dry fruits. They love adding sugar in different names. And just look for the food. They have to be food, or even better, go ingredient free. Go fruits, vegetables, the whole grains, all the real stuff.
Yeah, and I just keep, as we're talking, I keep thinking about a vehicle. Like, you can't go pour sugar in your gas tank. Your car's not going to run. And we're the same. We have to have the right fuel in our body to make our body run properly, or it's not going to run properly. Just like a vehicle, if there's water in the gas, that car's not going to run right. And so we have to make our body run correct. And something that shocks me is how much like dried fruit you see with added sugar. So my next question to you is,
and vegetable oils.
Yes. So a lot of people may say, okay, I want to get off of all the sugar, but then they go to eating 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 pieces of fruit a day. Can you overeat the fruit?
Yeah. And it's still sugar. It's natural sugar, but it's still sugar. And brown sugar is also still sugar. It's just different color. And even honey is great. And for some people, it should be there, but it's still sugar. You still has to control it, especially if you have the sugar addiction in your history. And again, I'm a former sugar addict, and I think there has to be like a meeting for former sugar addict. Hi, my name is Yana. I'm a former sugar addict, because sugar is a drug, and once addicted, you are addicted. And I know that about myself. I'm as a former sugar addict, I have to control and always know that I have this addiction in my history, and I have to make sure my diet is enough good enough not to get to this addiction. I have this tendency. So again, once the addict, you always addict in the sugar. It's the same. So you have to, and that's why even things like honey and all these natural good sugars have to be controlled. One of the things I wanted to add about the gas, you made the really, really good point. But even the absolutely, we cannot put water or anything else, but even with the gas, if you're buying a Mercedes or BMW, you have to put the best gas. If you put it on the good car, a really cheap gas, let's see how long you will drive on this car. So you have this beautiful body, only one per life. You cannot sell it and buy the new one.
Right.
Not just that, that's it. No substitution, no return, no exchange. That's all what you got. So you have to put, you understand this with dogs, you understand it with cars, we understand it when we repair the house, we're putting a good ingredients, we're buying high quality furniture. That is the same. That's run on the same quality as you put inside the body. This is no difference.
And it can not just with affecting our lipedema or obesity, it can affect the way your skin looks, the way your hair looks, the way your nails are. It can have major
and there
effects.
is a lot of things. When I see people in person, I really like how white are their their whites on their eyes. That's a fact. And I can see, especially when I meet in person, I can see sugar skin. I can see alcohol skin. I see it very easily. And people can say me, for years, I don't eat sugar, but I see there's a sugar skin sitting in front of me. You can see, especially those people who work with that, we can see it pretty easily. And yeah, the health of your nails, the thickness and the look of your hair, how shiny it is. And then people coming to me and saying, what vitamins should I take for the hair? That's not starting with the vitamins. It's starting from within, and it's starting not with the hair. It's starting with inside health. If you're healthy, you will have nails and hair and skin and energy and everything else. It's not just for lipedema. And then pain. A lot of pain is coming, again, the pain coming from high inflammation. And the inflammation is triggered by the wrong food. It could be junk food, it could be sugar, it could be food that you're not tolerating, like soy, dairy, gluten, and there are some other foods that you might not tolerate. So this is all triggered by all these seed oils. It will trigger the joint pain, the pain like everywhere in the body, and the muscle pain. It's especially joint pain. I see it a lot. And of course, lack of energy and the quality of your skin, of your hair, just and how you feel overall.
Right. I think right before I found out I had lipedema, my husband's an occupational therapist, and he's actually the one who discovered that I had it, because he saw another OT who's a CLT do a talk on it for the students at the university. And he was like, oh my gosh, my wife's legs look like that. And so at that time, I was almost at my breaking point, because when I'd get out of bed in the morning, it felt like I was walking on sharp knives, or like I was in so much pain, I couldn't stand it anymore. And for me, figuring out that I had it, and then now figuring out that I thought that I was eating super healthy at that time, but I still had in some fake sugars, like stevia and honey. So it wasn't until I completely removed the sugars, the dairy. Dairy is a huge one for me, the flour, and for me, meat. I'll eat salmon. I know that doesn't affect everybody, but for me, it affects me. When I removed all those, I literally, for the first time in my life, have been sleeping completely pain-free. When used to, my legs hurt so bad I couldn't go to sleep.
Yep.
And so now, figuring it out, I'm like, why wouldn't you want to change your diet if you could live completely pain-free without pain pills? That doesn't mean now I'm super triggered when I eat something. Like if I make hummus at home by myself, it doesn't bother me, but I soak the peas myself, blah, 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 all the things, do it myself. But if I get hummus somewhere else, it affects me. And it's because it has the sesame seed oil in it. So you kind of learn what affects you and what doesn't. So switching gears a little on protein, because I know sometimes that can be controversial, like what proteins or whatever. How important is it to count protein and not calories?
Okay. So first, talking about the protein, of course, there are different protein sources. But before that, one of the things that I didn't mention before, but I can mention now as we're talking about proteins, the sources of the proteins has to be also clean. And I'm of course there are people like you who has trouble with meat, and again we're working on that, but of course the animal product is the best protein source for the diet because it has all essential amino acids, and you can get more protein into the diet in smaller piece by having animal product than the plant, and also not everyone's GI are ready for that amount of plant-based food, right, and can tolerate, and they're too inflamed to get nutrients out, because we're not what we eat. We are what we absorb. You can eat the good food, but if you're too inflamed and your body cannot absorb it, sorry, it will go out of your body without giving anything to you. But talking about the animal product, one of the things that we should remove is the bad source of the animal product if you eat animal product. The toxins are staying in the fats. So when you eat fatty meat, you will carry all these toxins. You will eat and you will introduce to your body all the toxins that was surrounded by this animal who were raised badly. So the animals have to be grass-fed, grass-finished, period. There is no other. If I will go out and I will have choice between some vegetarian meal and conventional meat, I will always add a vegetarian meal. I will not touch the conventional meat. It is really, really bad stuff. I'm a big meat eater, and I drive to another state to get the quarter of my cow or the quarter of the bison, because the quality of the meat is the most important thing. It has to be grass-fed, grass-finished. Chicken has to be pasture-raised on organic meal. The eggs has to be from this chicken. The fish has to be wild, and the quality of the meat is essential. And it's the same as the seed oil. The fats from conventional meat is very inflammatory. So if it's too expensive for you, again, find the farm, get quarter of the cow or half of the cow, especially if you have a big family. It's saving ton of money. Or go for the leaner cut, go for bison. Bison cannot live on a very bad diet. They will die. This is how they're made. And they are more leaner. There is less fat. So go more lean meat while you're transitioning or finding a cheaper source. But there are really a lot of farms with the good, not expensive meat, especially when you come and buy like that in bulk. Coming to your question about how important is to count protein, not the calorie, essential, also essential, because the thing is, especially if you're on the journey of reducing sugar and fighting the sugar addiction, the protein and fats are your best friend. this is the not people, this is the thing that will save you. They will be your BFFs forever and ever and ever. That's how you have the sugar crash, especially if you have crash 3-4 p.m. You need coffee or sugar or both. You're not having enough protein. If you have sugar addiction, you're not having enough protein. If you need the food, something sweet after each food, you don't have enough protein. If you need to snack through the day, you don't have enough protein. There is, for each of your issues that you're facing right now, the answer will be you're not having enough protein. And I can tell you 95 probably percent of women that come into my practice don't have enough protein in their diet. And I made them calculate how much protein you have. And I had one woman, she had 17 grams of protein per day. 17,
Wow.
1-7.
Wow.
And I'm like, yeah, no matter, you're so sugar addicted. Counting not calories, not all the calories are the same. I will have 100 grams of meat versus 100 grams of avocado versus 100 grams of rice versus 100 grams of chips. It will behave absolutely differently in my body. One will give me satisfaction for many hours. One will make me hungry in 15 minutes. And one will give my body a good feeling and will stabilize my blood sugar. Another will get my blood sugar on the roller coaster, and I will ride this roller coaster for the end of the day. So this is absolutely different. And also calories, making people stressed out. They are getting fixed on this number versus quality versus meat. They go totally different direction. In 100 people that I helped to lose weight, none one counted calories. And this is one of the things I'm teaching. Ever counting calories. If you want to count something, there are two things to count that are very important. First is protein. Second is fiber. This is two things you have to count. You have to have really high amount of protein. The higher, the better. As long as you have a high quality protein, and also you okay handling the protein is not sitting as the stone in your stomach. If it is the case, then you have some issue with the stomach acid that we have to work around. But it's also things that can be solved, and I can help with that. And then the fiber is helping with cholesterol, and most of the people with lipedema has high cholesterol because we have high inflammation all the time. So with cholesterol, with the hormone, those who have hormone disbalance, and we all do, so especially with lipedema, so the cholesterol or the fiber helps a lot. So this is two things important to count: protein and fiber. But counting protein and having enough protein in the diet is essential, absolutely essential.
And I noticed I don't count calories. I do write down what I'm eating. More for me, not because I'm trying to keep track of anything, but I don't count calories. But I do make sure I get enough protein. And I honestly was shocked when I bumped my protein way up, how much more energy I had.
And you start losing weight, actually.
Yes.
And it will be removing of inflammation, and you actually lose a weight. I have so many women coming into my programs, and I am making them eat more calories and more protein that they used before, and they getting out of their plateau and they start losing weight, and they're like, that's not how it's supposed to work. I'm like, no, this is how it's supposed to work. It's not calories out. This is really, it's totally different, especially with.
It's not. I mean, there's days I can eat 1,200 calories, but there's days I might eat 2,000 calories. But yes. I have lost, in this last 2 months, 42 pounds in 2 months. Do you know that 20 pounds of that was in my first 6 days? And the only thing I changed was getting rid of honey and stevia, and a plant milk in my tea, my hot tea that I was doing 3 times a day. That's the only thing I changed.
Wow.
because they
Wow,
were
that's
causing
powerful.
inflammation. It was a small little change.
Yep.
And I'm like, wow. And it's not that I noticed clothes sizing changing. It's I've noticed a huge difference in the inflammation of my legs. My legs aren't so tight anymore. And it's amazing how much different you feel. How important is this was a question that came in from our listeners. Is intermittent fasting good or bad for lipedema at reducing inflammation?
So fasting, especially extended fasting that called autophagy, is extremely powerful tool. Very, very powerful tool. And there are a ton of research how it's reducing inflammation, how it's working, and it is a powerful tool. But as every powerful tool, not everyone ready for that, and not everyone know how to use it. You cannot just eating some bread and things and just go and start doing intermittent fasting from get-go. There is a very, very fine line between fasting, beneficial fasting, and starving, that giving stress to the body. There is such a fine line there that a lot of people don't feel it. And fasting became a thing. Everyone fasts right now, and they talk about benefits of fasting. And you cannot even imagine how many women I get in my practice that I'm forcing them to stop fasting. And that's where we get results, when we stop fasting. And we get to fasting where body is ready. And there are miracle words that when I hear, I'm not letting people fast, is things like, I'm fatigued. No fasting. If you're fatigued, your body is already stressed. I am in pain. Then there is no fasting right now. I have a sugar addiction. I cannot do exercise. I'm tired after exercise. All this. I have Hashimoto, or I just got diagnosed with Hashimoto. Any kind of things, those who not having a clean diet, that is a big no for fasting. So before you do fasting and using this very powerful and very awesome tool, you have to get ready for that. You have to have a stable blood sugar regulation. You have to have enough protein in the diet, because the fasting, the feeding window is as important as fasting window. And how you feel during the fast, before and after fast, is also extremely important. You have to have a lot of energy. You cannot be hungry. You cannot just say, okay, 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes. Okay, now I can eat. You cannot do things like that. It has to be natural process. Of course, you will be hungry, but it will not kill you. You will not be hungry. You will not count every second when I can eat. You will not overeat the next day when you have a feast after the fasting. So that's why it's, like I said, powerful tool, but you need to come to these terms: having a healthy diet, having good blood sugar, stable blood sugar, make sure you have energy, make sure you're sleeping good, and you have high quality of sleep, you're falling asleep, you're staying asleep, you're waking up rested. So all of this, you have a good the good health of your nails and hair, you're not having active Hashimoto or just got diagnosed with the high antibodies. So things like that, it will prevent me letting people fast. And then when you have all of that and you're introducing fast, don't jump in 24-hour fast. Introduce it gradually. Start with 12 hours. When 12 hours is in, start 14 hours, then 16 hours, then 18, then do 20 hours once a week, then maybe twice a week, then try 24 hours, then try maybe 3 days, but do it very, very gradually and always evaluate. I have women who cannot go more than 20 hours. I have those who cannot do more than 24 hours, and that is okay. You don't need to do 3 and 7 to get the benefits, because when you're pushing, it's becoming stress to the body. And again, there is a good healthy stress, there is hormesis, and when there is a stress where your body is breaking, you have to find this golden middle. You have to be right there. If you go any other direction, it will just give more inflammation, more stress, more issues.
And not stressing yourself out thinking you have to do the exact same thing somebody else does, because it may not work for you what they're doing. So don't look at what other people do. Do what works for you. Try things that work for you.
We are we are very unique. We are individual. We have different epigenetics. We have different cultural background. We have different habits. We have different diseases. We have different risk of diseases. We have different microbiome. We have so much difference. So things that work for one person and things will not work for another person. And one of the things I have to tell you, there is a lot of, especially articles that coming, oh, intermittent fasting is great, keto is great, everything is great. And they are putting some study, oh, study said this and this, study said keto for lifestyle is great. One of the things that this article never say, who this study were made, what are the people that were participating in the study. And if you will dig into that, you will be very surprised to find that most of the study are done on male. How can you compare a white dude with a woman, especially women with lipedema? Goodness, it's peaches and apples. We cannot do this. And a lot of studies that I found out when I start learning about the studies, how to read the study, one of the things I found out that even when they do experiments on mice, in 99%, they're using male mice, women mice, and they don't like to use women because we are cycled and we can be there on cycle and there. Male are more stable. So we cannot compare our hormone and male hormone, especially most of us with lipedema have hormone disbalance. We cannot use this study that was done on white male to women with hormone disbalance and lipedema. Apple and peaches, we cannot compare that. So that's why don't just rely because studies said it. This study might be done not on the population that that is related to you. So that is one of the things. Listen to yourself. Don't listen to magazines. Don't listen to me even. Don't listen to the bloggers that you follow on the Instagram. Take their advice. Listen to, don't follow blindly. So just get their advice, get their knowledge, but listen to yourself the most. Listen to your body, what your body wants, what your body is telling you. Is it when you're doing something, is your body in stress? Is it getting you more fatigue? Is it getting you exhausted? And I have women who are fasting hours and hours, and they're coming to me. They're fatigued. They're nutrient depleted. They are on their last leg, but they're fasting for 20 minutes. They're like, they say this is such a miracle thing. I'm like, yeah, lady, not for you right now. We will start eating with you like 5 times a day. That's what your body needs right now. So listen to yourself and what any changes that you're doing, what is doing to your body, to your energy level, to your sleep, to your nails and hair, to your skin, what is to your mood, what is making it, how it make you feel.
Yeah. And I think sometimes women with lipedema, I think, can get a little discouraged because some things work for one and not for another. And another listener sent in a question to us that she asked, why do some lippy women get good results with diet and exercise and others don't? Does stage matter? Stage of lipedema?
Stage, of course, matter. But another thing matter is what I mentioned right before is we all different and different things work on us differently. And actually working with lipedema, that I was very happy that I had a background working with autistic kids a lot, because this is actually the same. First, autism is not treatable, just like lipedema, and there is no surgery for autism. This is pretty much lifelong. You can only manage the side effect, just like in lipedema. And also think that give a miracle to one child will do nothing to another child. So seeing this and going through this, I was a little bit ready for lipedema world. That I saw exactly the same thing. We have different gene. we have different epigenetics. We came from different background. We have different history of childhood. Some people can have a lot of antibiotics and their microbiome is so wiped out, they don't have enough of beneficial bacteria, and they are not taught to eat fermented food, to eat a good, healthy meals, and they just wiped out, very poor, not much diverse microbiome. And this is huge. It will affect big time. You might have some diseases and you can have just thyroid, or you can have already on the level of mast cell activation, or you might have already celiac or anything else. And there is other thing you have to do. Because again, controlling inflammation and addressing inflammation, which is a very important lipedema, might come from different direction. And you might have a great diet and do all kind of stuff, but you're living in the moldy house.
Mm-hmm.
And you might not even know that. Or you might have cavitations in your mouth, and you might not, or you have about 8-9 amalgams, the silver fillings, that is also ruin your body. Or you might have some mercury exposure or any other toxin exposure, and you need some good heavy metal detox. So it's like, when you take several chains and you push them aside, you did the same thing. They will break in different places. It will break
Right.
where it's weak chain. And
Right.
weak chain will be different places for different chain. You did exactly the same motion, but breakage will be at the different places. This is what's happening, especially with lipedema people. We got to the point of high inflammation, high inflammatory disease, the problem with lymphatics, but it might be triggered, or it might trigger different things.
Right.
It's weak on your genetic level, how you methylating, how you living until now, or back before got diagnosed. This is all matter. It's not just changing the diet. It's way deeper than that. And that's why one thing can work for one woman and not work for another, because these other women, even though they have the same disease and could be at the same stage, the origin or the trigger could be different for them.
Right. That's true. We're all different. Another question that came in, she wanted to know how to support adrenal fatigue and cortisol issues. Can you touch on that?
Yeah, of course. And this is stress. This is all controlling stress. And this is extremely, extremely important. Again, that's important to divide. There is a healthy stress, and we are built for small bursts of healthy stress, and this is a term hormesis for that. And healthy stress could be plunging in the cold water. This is a healthy stress. Doing some cardio for like 5 minutes, very high cardio. This is high stress. Again, not everyone can handle it, but we just built for all this. So this small, even have some stressful situation, we build to recover pretty quickly. So that is not a problem at all for our body. And actually, the more of this stress, a healthy, stressful, short period stressful situation or conditions is healthy for us. Some people standing on the nails, some people having this cold plunges. This is all hormesis. This is making us stronger. This is fantastic for us. The problem appears when we have the long stress, or we have this chronic stress, and we just adding up and adding up and adding up to the body, and the body already like, enough. Me like, no, we have to lose weight. Let's do cardio daily 50 minutes. And they're just adding and adding. We already have stress. We have chronic low inflammation because of lipedema. We have it. So that's why we have to address this other parts of our body, is the toxicity, especially environmental toxicity, the junk food. And make sure that if you're fasting, it's not making you tired, and you're eating good while you're fasting, you have enough protein. You're not having a coffee, which is very blood sugar stimulating on the empty stomach first thing in the morning. and getting our adrenal into really worse place than it was before. So all kind of things you need to address to make sure your adrenals, just think about adrenals as your little pets. They need to eat good. When they tired, you need to put the blanket on that and just say, shh, everything is fine, not to make them being overworked and over diet and getting them one stress after another, and say, okay, handle this, and handle this. They cannot handle so much. So make sure you're really taking care of your adrenals and not overwork them.
Yeah, I love it. I've never heard it said like that about pets. I love it. It just helps you remember, like, you got to do the things you need to do. I know we've touched base on this a little bit, but maybe you can share with our listeners necessary changes they can make to personal care in all. And one thing I want to touch on that I was kind of shocked about water is I used to drink a ton of water. Well, I was retaining so much fluid. And the little tiny change I made was mineralizing my water. And now I don't drink like over thirsty. I'm getting enough fluid and I'm not retaining the water. So just, skincare, laundry, perfumes, can you touch base on those things?
Yeah. With the water, it's actually a very important point you made. I have a lot of people when I'm getting people in my private practice. One of the things we're talking is what kind of water they're drinking. And a lot of people have RO system, reverse osmosis system, or they're getting distilled water. So one of the things I have to tell you, this is a great that you're trying to be hydrated. But if you're drinking any kind of RO water, distilled water, or actually not the water that goes through a lot of cleaning and a lot of filters, you might end up dehydrating, drinking a ton of water, and you will be dehydrating. Why? Because the water has minerals. Originally, if you will take any kind of well water from the good source, it will have a ton of mineral, because that's how water works. To get into the cell, it's need minerals to do this process. And when the water is from without the minerals, what it will start depleting your mineral balance. It will not hydrate you. It will make things worse, because it will start pulling your minerals to do its work, and or it will just move on. You will still be dehydrating, drinking a ton of water. That's why, especially if you're having RO or any kind of big filters, or actually just any kind of water, especially I'm not suggesting buying water in plastic bottles, in any small plastic, big plastic, just you don't use a Bisogen plastic. Put the electrolytes. You can put sea salt. There are electrolytes on the market. LMNT is my favorite. I love this company. Very clean, very nice company. Especially when you fast. If you're doing fasting keto, you need to have your minerals in. You need actually more minerals than if you on the regular diet. So having minerals in the diet is extremely important. Talking about the skincare product, skin is an organ, very highly absorbable organ. Whatever you're putting on the skin will go inside the bloodstream just like that. So very quickly. So whatever you're putting on the skin, chemicals will go inside your body as well. The same as smells. The perfume, all kind of fragrances, very hormonal disruptor. I'm not gonna go into the biochemistry lecture, but you can totally find this on the internet. And one of the things what I'm doing with women, we are removing all the fragrances, all these perfumes, anything with smell, and it's everywhere. Trash cans, laundry products, like everywhere. Candles, this candles is like, ugh. So this has to be removed, and you can do your homework and read more about this. There is a ton of information, and some doctors even call it perfume and smoking of 21st century, because that is as bad as it is. So, and also, yeah, all these chemicals, your deodorant in your skincare, in your makeup, in all your laundry product, what all the bed sheets, everything that you sleeping on this bed, on this pillow, and all these chemicals that was in the laundry product, they're all getting into your skin. What you cleaning your house with, what you smelling, it's all counts. This is additional thing that your liver need to detox. So again, I have a lot of clients coming and saying, I bought this product to detox. I want to detox. Let's start removing things from your life. Not, I am proponent of first removing before adding. So before adding stuff, I am usually removing a bunch of things. That's already a huge step. So let's not overwhelm your liver to the point that you need detox, because our liver, skin, lungs, they're detoxing all the time. This is a natural process. But let's not give extra work in terms of all these chemicals around. And that's why there are a lot of things that raise estrogen, including the perfume. So, and if you have already the disbalance, hormone disbalance, don't add it to your body. So that's why removing all these chemicals around you, the perfume is crucial. It's also part of the first step what you can do. So there are things you can use. First is EWG's Skin Deep database. Amazing thing. They have a website, they have an app, and you can look your ingredient, the product that you're using, or you can put like word sunscreen, and they will come with all the sunscreen that they recommend. It's a third-party independent laboratory, and they will come with everything what they recommend, or they will give the rating of the things that you're using, and they will break up why all the ingredients, the rating of all ingredients, and if the ingredients has the perfume, so it goes from EWG verify 1, 2 is the greenest, and the 10 is the worst. And if any kind of ingredient will have perfume, it will immediately go to level 8, just like that. It could be very green, but as long as it has perfume, it has rating 8. So that they will break up all the ingredients, all the problems with this product. So they will break up. So EWG is a clean, deep skin deep database. God, sorry. And this is first. Also, another good app is Think Dirty. This is app on your phone. This one including not just skin, it's also including on the laundry, the cleaning, all the supplies. And with this app, you're just scanning the barcode right there at the store, and it will give you rating. So when you shop, this is my kids love that app, especially in the Walmart. No, this is 9. How horrible it is. So they love doing this. So, and it's a good thing to teach your kids and having just clean house. But this is very, very important, especially controlling inflammation, controlling hormones. This is crucial to do that.
That app would be really great when you're not as familiar with all the ingredients, and just to kind of take the stress off yourself, just do the app and scan it. I can't wait to do that, because I get tired of standing in the store reading all of the ingredients.
This is hard. It's not like with the food. Just make sure this is the food that you can eat. This is different. There is more chemicals, and some chemicals good, some chemical bad. That's why I always give resources where to go. And there is always stuff come out. Like my kids coming, oh, Kim Kardashian just did a new skin line. I'm like, okay, let's see what EWG have to say about this new skin line. So I first always looking at the ratings and making sure the ingredients are good. And I always check everything what coming to my house goes through this database just to make sure this is acceptable.
I love it. I know that you've touched on a few topics that people might go, oh, I want to know more about that. And so I just want to let listeners know that we are going to do more episodes together with Yana. She's agreed to that, and I am super thankful for it. So we're going to be covering things like mast cell activation, surgery education, microbiome, nutrition and supplements, and tools and exercise, and maybe a few different things. So if you have questions, if you're listening to this and you have questions that you want me to ask Yana, email me at lippychalista@gmail.com, or you can go to the website and email me, and we can get those collectively questions that we can ask her. how can people find you if they said, I need Yana in my life, I need to hire her to help me through this? How can they get a hold of you?
I have a website, foodasmedicine.online. That's my website, and you can find my story there, my education there, all the condition I'm working, the packages that I have, and there is my phone there, my email there, so you can email me, you can text me, and I will send you my schedule, and we can make the appointment, and I will send you the paperwork to fill up. There's a lot of paperwork, a lot of questions, and we will go from there.
And maybe, don't get overwhelmed thinking you have to figure it all out tonight, because there's a lot of information to learn. I've been teaching myself, researching for nearly 3 years, and you've been doing it a lot longer. So I think sometimes it's like, oh, you want to know it all at once, and it's hard to know it all at once. Like, pace yourself, take your time. You're going to learn new things all the time. Do you have any final thoughts for our listeners about today?
Most of all, I want to actually, my final thought will be adding exactly what you just said. I give a lot of information right now, and this is my approach. I like to save people time and just in small amount of time give a ton of information, but it can totally be overloading and very scary to some people. And I understand that very well. There are people who likes a lot of information 1 hour. Some people just, that's over too much. No, let's slow down. So that's why just knowing yourself, better to do something than nothing, better small step than staying on one spot. So the best way what you can do, especially from meetings like that, where I give a ton of information, make a list. Make a list of everything what we talked right now with Sarah. So just make a list of all the changes that you're planning to do, and you can put priority. Okay, first I will do this. And if you will start just removing the inflammatory thing like gluten, dairy, or just start with gluten or start with dairy, whatever. Start somewhere. Every big journey always starting with the first step. So start somewhere. And then you can go down the list. You don't need to do everything right now, right this minute. So, and actually the small changes, this is the best permanent changing. When you do all of that, you will get overwhelmed, and you have a bigger chances of dropping everything. And it might be hard for you, and might have a resistance from your family as well, especially kids, like, what is that new food? What is this new shampoo? I don't like it. So you might get, and the husband's like, what is that new food you're cooking? You might get resistance. So also make it pain-free for your house. Make it small changes, making small steps, and that will be easier for you to make it more permanent, to find the food or the shampoos or the stuff that you will use from now on, and it will be easier on your family. So this is kind of changes will become permanent changes. So don't get overwhelmed. You don't need to do everything tomorrow. Make a list. Start using the app I just gave to get the clean product. You don't need to swipe everything right now. Just next time when you shop, just use the scanner and scan and make a different choice that you were doing before. Or you can use other companies, things like Maliluca, doTERRA, that are sending it to you every month, and you can just get this prescription services. So this is the best way. Again, make a list, do one thing at a time or two things at a time, whatever work for you. Take your time, make these changes slow. And that's where the success is.
It is. And Melaleuca and doTERRA, you told me, my two favorite. I've done doTERRA for many years. I even use essential oils for perfume instead of perfume now. And Melaleuca, I just got turned on to, actually a doctor in Canada turned me on to it, and love the laundry soap. So there's all kinds of things that you can do that will help. And if you do have a husband or kids or something that freak out, listen, my husband is a sugar carb junkie and he's skinny and all the things. And so it's been a slow process for him to convert to what I'm doing, but he didn't used to eat salads. So now he's eating salad every day, and And instead of eating a candy bar every night, he's doing something different. And so it may not still be completely healthy, but he's making minor changes. So don't get overwhelmed. Don't stress out and think they have to change and do everything you do, because it's a process for them too, having to do it. So baby steps. And I know that especially with having lipedema, it looks like there's a big mountain in front of us, but you can never get to the top of the mountain if you don't take the first step. And you're going to have to rest along the way. You can't just keep climbing without resting, or you're going to slide right back down the mountain. So baby steps, take a rest, give yourself a little grace, and don't beat yourself up if you can't do it all at once. Don't do it all at once. That's my biggest advice.
Another thing I want to mention, you just to your point, if you did mistake, that's fine. That's not in the end of the world. And if once in a while you sleep and do this cheat day, don't even call it cheat day. That's okay. Don't. The example I was giving, if you wake up in the morning and you have one flat tire, you're not taking enough and making other tires flat just to make it really, really bad because you have one flat tire. You're just changing it and you continue your journey. That's how you do it. Forgive yourself. You're a human being. You have habits. And if you will grind yourself or punish yourself, for God's sake, don't do this.
Yes.
That's where the problem is coming. There is no bad food. The real food is not a bad food. And if there is some bad food, like junk food that you like, allow yourself once in a while and just weigh yourself out of the food. Introduce something else. Get more protein so you will not be craving for this food. But allow yourself mistakes. That's totally fine. It's worse. It's you better do this mistake and then next morning just start, not all over. You don't need to start all over. Just continue your journey and forgive yourself that you'll be, oh my God, that's it. It didn't work again. That's it. I'll go get McDonald's and just nothing worked. Don't do this. That's okay. Sleep happened. Next morning, we continue journey like nothing happened. Forgive yourself and say, happened, fine. That's life. That's very important. This is so important because that's how people giving up. That's how they stop in this journey. They make in one step and they think things has to be perfect and the diet has to be clean and things must be all this stuff. No, they don't. This is life. Let's live life. Once in a while to make this mistake, and it's not even mistake. Once in a while to have life is totally fine. The most important is not doing this. The most important is to continue next day the journey that you have and forgive yourself.
Yeah. And because this disease affects mostly women, and there's a lot of us that are mothers. I know that there are some that are not. And so I know the mamas can relate that if your kids fall off their bike, you help them get back up the next day. You don't tell them they can never do it again. You just encourage them to keep going. And moms, we're good at that. We're good at encouraging others to keep going when they make a mistake. So that's what I mean about giving yourself grace. If you make a mistake, just keep going. Don't stop. That's the key for me, is do not stop.
Yep.
Yeah. Yana, thank you so much for being with us today. I cannot wait to do more. You are like this wealth of knowledge, and I am so thankful to know you.
I am so honored actually to come, and thank you so much for inviting. I'm very honored to come and be able to share my knowledge with other people, because it took me years to combine of that, to learn of that. And if I can save time for other people and just share the result, and if I can help and improve life of some of women there, it's a huge honor to me. So thank you so much for inviting, and thank you guys for listening. I really, really appreciate you listening and you trusting and my suggestions to you.
Yes. Okay. We'll be coming more. I promise. So stay tuned. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you, listeners, for tuning in to us. And don't forget to send us in any questions you may have.
We hope you enjoyed that podcast. Content on this podcast is for educational purposes only, is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. To learn more about the podcast, visit the website lippychalista.com or email Sarah at lippychalista@gmail.com. She is also a certified life coach and financial coach. For a free consultation, visit the website jacksonlifecoach.com or email her at jacksonlifecoach@gmail.com.